Okay. I'm actually known as Joseph by one person, my mother-in-law. No one else calls me anything but Joe. If my wife calls me Joe, it's not a good thing. If my wife calls me Joseph, it is a very, very bad thing. So um, I write under Joseph P. Garland for my certain stuff, J.P. Garland for my romances. So what I want to do is show you how to create a style. And there, unfortunately, it's hidden here on my screen, but there's a button here for style. Let's do this. Let's change the style of this to Times New Roman 12. Okay, right now I have no idea what that is, but let's call it Times New Roman. Oh. Okay, now the way I like to do it, and this is purely a matter of personal preference, I do it as follows. Paragraph. The two things I want is I want my first line indented 0.2. I want it single space, and I want nothing between paragraphs. Okay. So this is my, this is what I'm going to call my text. Oh, I also want to justify it. So let me just go and justify it. Okay. So to create a style, you can go up to Home, Styles, and then create a style. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call it text. Make it something easy to remember. Text. Okay. Now, because almost this entire document will be in that particular style, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to highlight the whole document, and we're going to go to Home, Style, Text. Okay. Now this whole document is now text. That particular thing. And I could basically take this whole document, make a couple of modifications, and it would be ready to go. I mentioned there are 3 styles I wanted to focus on. That was the first one. I'm going to focus on a second one. I want the first paragraph of every chapter to be have a drop cap. Okay, so I don't want the indent. So the way to do that is simply go to paragraph either this way, or you can go up by going to Home. I'm going to change this none. Okay. Then I'm going to hit the right button, or I can do it up here. 2 ways to do it, and go to Styles, and then create a style, and I'm going to call that first paragraph. I can call it whatever I want. Okay. Now I have 2 styles in this document. So what I want to do is, here's the first paragraph of chapter 1. Go to Styles, first paragraph, and there we have it. Go down to paragraph 2, chapter 2, wherever it might be. So there's chapter 3, I know that. So I'm going to go this way. Home, Style, first paragraph. There's chapter 2. Home, Style, first paragraph. That's my style number 2. Okay.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Do you when you're writing your document, do you just write it as it is and then change the styles? How do you want them?
No. The idea, I do the styles as I go. Okay, so
okay.
And once you've done it, you can either do it as you're writing or not. It's entirely up to you. The next one, however, you want to do on an ongoing basis. I forgot one thing I wanted to do for this document.
But wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Home Style first paragraph, that knows to go to the first paragraph of every chapter? What I did is I made the entire document the text style. So now I have to manually put in the first paragraph. You have to go to each first paragraph and go
first
through.
paragraph.
Okay.
Got it.
There's a little secret, which I'm not going to mention. Almost automatically, but that's using a macro that's down the road. Okay. I used to, before Kindle wouldn't let me, I would go and download from Project Gutenberg public domain novels like Jane Austen's. And I would then convert those into publishable content. And it would take me about all of 15 minutes to take a novel, completely format it to go. But one of the things I learned was there's a semi-automatic way to do that for every chapter, but I'm not going to get into that here. I mentioned, I forgot to do this, which is the layout. Pretty basic size. You can make whatever size this is the paper size. It defaults to 8.5 by 11 here in the States at least. Make it for the whole document, boom. Okay, now layout, I want to do one other thing. And if you're going to do paperbacks on film, you're going to have to, sometimes you have to fine tune the margins. And I'm going to do something right here. Okay, mirror margins. We'll deal with that shortly. Mirror margins is because when you have a book, you have an inside margin and an outside margin. So you want it to automatically make the margins different. You'll see what happens when I do this. Okay, you see, this is an odd number page, so it's on the right side. Okay, that doesn't look quite right. We'll deal with that in a second. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. See there, you say the margins are different depending on what side they are. Okay. I'm not sure what this is. We'll figure it. So, by the way, my saying we'll figure it out is when I'm doing it, there is a bit of trial and error that they have to deal with and try to figure out what's to be done. So that's style number 2, and the third style is actually a built-in style for Word. And let's go to styles. Here are a number of styles. Okay. You can add styles by either creating them, or there are certain styles that are embedded, but they're not on this document. This is very important. Okay. This style, heading 3, heading 4, whatever. The reason these are important is because when you generate a table of contents, all the table of content does is it searches for every line that is in the heading style, heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it identifies what page that heading is, and that's the page it puts in the table of contents. It does that automatically for you. You never have to type in pages. And as you change the document, you move things around, it will automatically update it. In fact, you constantly update your table of contents until you're in the final time of doing it. So I'm going to call that heading 1. Now, you say, this looks pretty awful. You do here, we're going to do exactly what we did when we did the first paragraph, which is we're going to take it and we're going to customize it's exactly what it looks like. So I'm going to call that Times New Roman. Let's call it 14, return. I don't like it, whatever color that is. I'm going to make it black. Okay, what else do I want to do with this? Well, if you go to home paragraph, you're going to see a number of things. First of all, I want to make it single space. Now you see it has the spacing before and after. Okay, I'm going to go do this, but I want 12 is double space. So I want it to be 2 spaces, a double space below it. Separately, this is very important, line and page breaks. When you have a heading style, it automatically gives you these. The importance of keep with net. Widow Orphan, what a Widow Orphan does is it prevents you from having a single line of a paragraph alone, either at the end of a page or at the beginning of a page. So you'll always have at least, as you can see here, there are 2 lines here before the page break, 2 lines here before the page break. Keep with next does exactly what it sounds like. It keeps with the next paragraph. So you don't want to have the prologue, return to get to the text, because the prologue is only going to stay with the blank line. But it does this automatically when you do heading style. Here, now you want to modify this. You want it to be centered. Okay. You want to underline it. Again, this is all up to how you want to do it. And you want this to be your heading 1 style. Okay. So you go to Style, Heading, and all you do is you hit the right button, Update Heading to match. Okay. So we go here. We want this as the chapter to be heading 1. Basically. And again, you can modify this. Go to the second chapter. And later on, we'll talk about how you make these numbers automatic. Okay. A lot of people, they manually put in the numbers. You don't want that. Okay. Because if you move things around, or sometimes you have more than one, you have missing paragraphs, you have extra paragraphs, you have 5 paragraphs, 3, you have chapter 3s. We'll deal with that later. That is a little complicated, but all that is basically assigning, coding a number so that, and it's like doing a document and having each paragraph has a number sequentially. That's what that's basically the same concept here. Each heading will have a number and it will go consecutively. And when I said it's more complicated with writing a brief, in a brief, what you have is you may have Roman 1 is heading 1, an Arabic 1 is level 2, A in parentheses level 3, and then it gets rather complicated. We don't really have to worry about that. Okay, so here we have, basically on this page, we have what we need for the whole document. Okay, let me just do something here if I can. It's not letting me here. I'm showing you, okay, I made it smaller so you can see. I'm looking for something. Where is it? Oh, the line's too small. And this is a cool thing. Okay. Drop cap. Okay. Where is it? Normally that command is right up here on the top. Okay. And later on, I'll show you how you can customize the top here. Have all of these little commands that you use frequently so that you don't have to open anything. Let me go back and make it bigger again. Okay. So there we have, I'm sorry, let me just make it smaller again just to get that drop cap here. Wrong. Where's the drop cap? Drop cap. And for some reason it doesn't want to do it, which is, I'm having problems with it. Of course I'm having problems with it.
Do you have to highlight in your document?
Well, no, it has to, no, for the drop cap, it only has to be in the paragraph. Okay. And so it should be working, but it's not.
Are you in the paragraph?
I am in the paragraph. Yeah, see, right there.
Okay.
Let me see, let me go to chapter 2. This is actually something you do at the end of the process. You put in your drop caps at the end. Why? It's not working. I don't understand why.
What is
You
it
do-
that it does?
I'm sorry?
What is it it does?
Oh, you see this I?
Yes. Okay.
Drop cap. Now I'll give you a heads up. If the first paragraph, if the first line begins with a quotation mark, okay, what you have to do is you have to delete the quotation mark, drop cap it, and then add the quotation mark again. Otherwise, what it does is it drops the quotation mark as the first character in the paragraph, and then it looks like a mess. Okay. In fact, when I started doing this, Word would not allow you to put the quotation mark in, and I actually researched that. In fact, you could get away, and it was okay to have, even if there was supposed to be a quotation mark, you could ignore it if there was a closed quotation mark. Okay, but now you can do that in Word. Word, by the way, constantly is updating certain of the things it does. It makes it easier to use it for manuscript. I still don't know why it's not letting me put it in these things. So.
Hey, Joe, I just have a question.
Sure.
I just want to know, what sort of a file formatting this is. It's just a Word document that is
It's a DOCX document.
DOCX. Okay. And do you know which version of Word you're using?
I have whatever the most recent version.
Okay. And you would recommend that for the, if we are planning to.
Yeah, I think, I have it professionally, so I pay whatever the subscription. I don't know what your basic Word does. And so
Okay.
I think whatever the version is, it's the version.
Okay.
I learned this too for my students just this past fall. I teach at a law school. If you are using, so they get Word free if they go through it online, but they do not have the app, and there are differences. I use the app, but if you are for some reason using it through the online version, it'll be different in some forms. So
Yeah, that's why I wanted to give a caveat. The same thing with PDF. I have the whatever you pay for PDF, so I can do things, and I want to have the caveat that other people may not be able to do what I can do. So there's that. Okay. So I just don't understand why it's not letting me do this drop cap. So this is basically.
I had a question. How did you know to make it a 0.7 for your indents now?
I don't know that. I don't know that. And at the end of the day, I'm going to take a piece of paper. Well, actually, I'm going to use a calculator. Okay. And I'm going to approximate what I think the margin is going to be. I've done enough of these that I have a sense. And the size of the margin is in part dependent upon the number of pages in it. Okay? So one of the things when you're doing a paperback, the margins disappear if you're doing an ebook. You don't have to worry about, even if the margins are uneven in the document you upload, they'll be even when you upload to a KDP, they'll take care of it. Their margins will be even. Okay. One of the things, if you're going to do a paperback or hardcover, and I'll note, by the way, if you do a paperback or hardcover, the internal contents are going to be identical. So you don't have to make a separate PDF for the hardcover. You say, why would I want a hardcover? Hardcovers are great as keepsakes. If you're going to write a book, you might as well have a few hardcovers. Cover's a bit trickier than a paperback, but that's another story. What you do is, if you're doing a paperback, you get a proof copy from KDP. It comes in about 2 days after you order it, and you pay the cost of the printing and the cost of the shipping, tax. And then you look to make sure when you look at it, the margins are right, and you make the slight adjustments. That's one of the things you want to look at when you get a proof, is the size of the margin. So I tend to be like 0.56 on the outside and 0.9 on the inside. That's a ballpark, but again, it depends on the number of pages. Now I'm going to talk about, first of all, okay, does anyone have any questions at this point? Okay, now I'm going to do a secret thing, okay, which is very important, because what most people do is they put a page break before every chapter. So the next chapter begins on the first page. That's really something you should not do, and I'll tell you why in a second. Instead of doing that, what you want to do is put a section break before the new paragraph. The new chapter. So layout, breaks.
Wait a minute, go back. I looked down for a second. Layout.
Yeah, sure.
I was writing notes.
What you do is now most people do this. They do page break.
Right.
Okay. There's a reason you don't want to do that, and we'll get to that in a second. Undo. You want to put a section break, and we just grab a look here. Sorry. Two closest books are not right books for this, because they have really just hold on a second. I put the cord from my mic behind me. Let's see. Book. This is actually a hardcover, but what I wanted to point out is I don't know if you can see this, but you note that the chapter has nothing in the header. This is an even number page. It has my name in the header. And the odd pages have the title of the book in the header, okay? And the reason for us doing a section break before the chapter is because there are three types of pages in your manuscript. There's the odd page, there's the even page, and there's the first page of a section. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have, for the odd page numbers, we're going to have the title of the book and the centered and the page number on the right margin. For the even number pages, we're going to have the author's name centered and the page number on the left margin. And finally, for the first page of the chapter, we're going to have nothing. Okay. Now, if I were to put page breaks in, that first page of the chapter would have whatever, whether it's the odd or the even. Okay, but we don't want that. It just makes it look so much cleaner not to have that in the header. And my preference is to have the page numbers in the header. So I'll just show this quickly. Layout, breaks, next page, boom, and then, okay. And so then I would go to the next chapter, chapter 2. Do the same thing. Layout, breaks, next page. And if you end up having an extra return, they just get rid of it. And then I'll go to chapter 3. Well, there's chapter 4. Might as well go there. And again, you can do this as you're going, or you can do this later on. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to go to 3. And then I'm going to 2, 3. First of all, I didn't get the number. So I wanted style, heading 1, boom. Then I want to, again, I can do it either here or there. That little triangle I never use, but what that triangle does is it makes it gives you the first bit of the chapter and then makes the rest of it disappear.
Say that again. What does the triangle do?
What the triangle does, it's right next to the header for a chapter. And if you hit it, what it does is it removes all but the first couple of lines of that chapter, so you can jump to the next chapter. So I could do, I'm inside of chapter 4. It allows you to just navigate more quickly through the document. Okay, that's all it does. And I never use it.
Can I ask Joe, all your formatting marks, like you've got your paragraph returns and everything, and you've got a dot where your word spacing is, where do you turn that on?
There's a right there. Or
yeah.
Where was it?
That's
Sorry.
one of the ones. That's one of the ones I have in my up here. So it's all that thing is always there. I can always just grab it because it's not. That's one of the things I have in my auto ribbon. Okay. But
it's on the norm. It's under layout, is it? Or
no, it's under home.
It's under home. Yeah,
Paragraph,
I just wonder because
right
I've not ever used it.
That's so you can see. You can see. Now, one thing, if you look at this, you may see there is not a tab in this document. Okay. The reason for that is it allows me to completely control everything by not having any tabs. Okay. So if I had to tell, this is what a tab looks like. See, it has that arrow. That's a tab mark. Okay, a lot of people tab over for the paragraphs. It just makes it really different. What you want to do with the styles is control how things look. Okay, so if you decided that you wanted the style to be italicized, boom, the whole document is now italicized. Why? Because all I did is I just put the cursor in one of the paragraphs in the text style. And I just changed that. If I wanted to make the change the font size. All right. That makes it bigger. And style. Style, text, update. The whole document is like that. Okay. What that means is if you decide you want your font to be a little bigger, you don't have to do it for the whole document. Just do it for that style, and that takes care of it. Now you say, why would I want to do that? Well, let me do this. Let me return this back to 12 and no italics. Yeah. Update. Boom. Okay. Let me say that. Let me give you an example of something you'd like to do along those lines. Okay. I'm looking for something in particular. Okay, let's take a look. I have text messages in this document. Okay. Now I want to create a style only for text messaging. And I have a particular way I like to do it, which is as follows. And you can do it, and it's all this is preference, personal preference. I want to go to paragraph. I want it to be 0.2 left. I want it to be 0.2 right. I want it to be hanging. And I want it to be 6 before and 6 after. And then I want to hit this button. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Okay. I'll explain that in a sec. Okay.